the City.
What's going on, St. Louis City fans? Welcome back to another episode of Soul of the City. I'm Chris, and this is Ian, and we have a masked guest here as well.
Anonymous.
Remaining anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because today's episode, it requires that. It requires some anonymity because there's going to be some things said about this club that just need to be said. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. But other than that, happy Mother's Day. If you are Klaus's mother right now, you are crying because St. Louis City is in absolute free fall.
And St. Louis City SC is making some mothers cry, that's for sure.
It's making me cry. It's making my mother cry. It's a problem.
All of St. Louis is crying right now, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking get into this game.
God. Riley and I drove all the way up to Chicago for a total of like 10 hours of driving, right?
Yep.
In a day.
In one day. In the rain for a little bit. It was a little ugly at the beginning.
Yeah, there's some thunderstorms here.
Yeah.
Windy, rainy, a little chilly.
But the fans showed out. There were
Definitely.
Like 1,500
people there,
Yeah.
according to Tom Timmerman. And when Riley and I got there, we were walking around Soldier Field. Pretty cool place. And whenever the city team rolled out onto the field, you just hear this like massive roar coming from up in the left corner. They had the city supporter section like way far away from the field by design. They didn't want us to have any influence over that game. But it was cool because despite me and Riley being all the way on the other side of Soldier Field, we could hear the roar happen. It actually inspired us to get rid of our own tickets and just walk right up to the supporter section.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that we could feel the energy coming from a certain part of the park. We saw them, and we were like, we're getting up there no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was pretty empty, so it's pretty much pick your seat.
It's true. And walking around the stadium, it was probably, I'd say it was 60-40, like more Chicago fans because we're in Chicago, but still a massive amount of away support. You could see a ton of city jerseys throughout the city when we were walking around the city.
Yeah.
In the parking lot when we first pulled up, there was some tailgating going on.
And there was a good sense of camaraderie from all of the city fans. I felt like when we made it up there, I felt like everybody was really friendly. Everybody was happy to see St. Louis pop out in a nearby city to support their local football team, and that felt really good, and that made me feel a part of something. Mm-hmm. While the thing that we're a part of are sliding down a slippery slope pretty quickly, it felt good it gave me a sense of community in a different city, and that was the first time I had ever traveled for a sports organization out of St. Louis. And that was really cool. It was cool to go support the club in a different city.
Don't do it again because we lost.
Yep, I'm staying home from here on
Yeah.
out. I'm going to watch from my couch. I would have much rather watched that game from my couch.
We're not the problem. The
No.
team is the problem.
We can get into the problem. Start the game off, luckily, by not conceding in 3 minutes. I'd call that a win.
Yay.
We did concede 4 shots on target in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was very open to start the game, that's for sure. Were there any super notable chances? I know that at like the 5th minute, I think Leuven had that like long shot.
Yeah, we've been asking Leuven to be that guy and shoot from range.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, he's not listening, but he cuts past one Chicago player and takes a shot with his right foot that's always kind of bending wide, but it forces a save from the keeper.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't the most menacing thing, but it was like at least good to see something happen, give us a little fight. But
Give us
especially
something.
when it was so open in that first 10 minutes where it really was kind of both sides of the field.
Yeah.
That was probably the most meaningful opportunity of those opening minutes. So, yeah.
In the 9th minute, Berkey has an amazing save.
On Kamara,
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah.
That whole left side was just wide open all day long, like all game.
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah.
where John Nelson was. Maybe he was supposed to be like doing maybe there's some tactics involved. Like I know Arteta will have Zinchenko
Pushed into the midfield.
push into
I
the
don't think
midfield
we're
and
doing
play
that though.
I don't think Carnell's pulled that in. I think John Nelson was just not playing his position.
Dude,
There were multiple chances.
he's usually a very dependable member of our back line. Like, I would argue the most dependable. Like, he starts every game and plays, either at his level or above it, so to speak, like every game. And yesterday he was horrible.
Terrible.
Like, awful.
Yeah, I felt like he typically has some defensive value we've been critical of both of the fullbacks, starting fullbacks, for their lack of offensive quality. And this game, he had no quality. There was nothing quality about his style of play at all. Left us exposed anytime there was a Chicago counterattack. Even before we went down to 10 men, you just felt like Chicago was going to score anytime they broke, because all of a sudden you look to the back and Nelson's scampering back to try to regain shape, and it's like, well, we're already out of shape. Everybody's already out of position.
In the first 10 minutes, Kamara had just a wide open. They switched it over to John Nelson's side. Kamara gets a touch, has a wide open look at goal. Berkey, amazing kick save.
Yeah, great kick save.
Amazing kick save. Then in the 9th minute, basically the same thing. I don't even know if it was Kamara or if it was a different player. I think it was somebody else. But Berkey has an amazing save with his hands this time. Gets up immediately, distributes out to Celio on the left side. Celio drives. Nice outside foot pass to Vaclav, who's running on. And
that was like and the ball that is whipped in, the angle, you can't tell if it's like a bad ball from Vaclav or if Gio just kind of like fluffs the shot, because he's sliding into it.
Yeah.
And that's our best opportunity in the game,
gets the ball,
if he can get a foot on it.
He gets the ball there and plays a whipped ball into Gio, who's supposed to be on the end of it. I can't even be mad about the ball played in or Gio's like attempt, because it was just it was an overall difficult chance to make. You'd love to see it go in, but
it was a good move. We didn't see anything else like that in basically the entire game.
No, not even
like
close.
Quick counters.
We got to talk about Roman Berkey, because Ian, I feel like you've been highly critical. I feel like you've said multiple times that he just does the bare minimum, and in this Chicago game, that man absolutely was trying to put the team on his back and showed his value as our designated player.
And in that
goalkeeping.
And in that Rapids game, we lose that game without him.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm not like discrediting either of those things. I just think that there are moments where he can be doing better, like in the goal in the Chicago game, where he is coming towards his near post because the ball gets played in from Shaqiri off that dead ball, and goes into, I think it's Kyrgios that scores. Kyrgios. And his momentum carries him like further out from his near post, and the ball's not hit hard. So I think that if he's like glued to his near post, kind of how he's supposed to be, he might actually save that.
It's all John Nelson.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's John Nelson.
His fucking man
Our
wide
defense
open
is just leaving Berkey out to dry.
Yeah,
and he does a great job of making up for a lot of it, but he can't do it all game.
No, he can't do everything. I mean, in reality, Berkey is really good. Like his post shot expected goals, which is after a save is made on shots that are good, I guess. He's 94th percentile. He's saving an extra like 30% above other goalies. And then his save percentage is in the 95th percentile with an 80.4%. So I
just think he keeps us in this game, like makes it even realistic for us to try to scrape a point out of this game. I think a lot of it is due to Berkey.
He does, but if we could have like Klaus back, I would rather have Klaus back, because we can't score. Like, we cannot do anything right now. Like, at the end of the day, Berkey can be as good as he wants. If we don't score a goal, we're just getting a point every week, even if he is the best goalie in the world.
Yeah.
Let's drop back a little bit into the game. I think in like the 26th minute, you had Miggy go in for a challenge and get himself his first yellow card of the game.
Yeah, it was on Shaqiri, and he was.
It was a tactical foul.
It was tactical. I can't even be mad about it. He just
pulls his shirt
down. Yeah,
because if you are just gonna let Shaqiri run there, that is a Champions League winner. That is a World Cup performer with Switzerland. Like, he's going to go on the counter, and that easily could have been a goal. Like we said at the beginning, the counterattack looks so scary to defend against for St. Louis City, that like if Miggy lets him run there,
who knows what happens.
Could have easily been a goal.
Yeah. I mean, that sets up the Miggy probably should have gotten a second yellow card in the 39th minute. I know there was some Taylor Twellman tweets about that, and let's go back and forth on that. We can talk about that exchange on Twitter later, but that sets up the Shaqiri free kick that
ends with the
allowed
goal.
With the goal, yeah. So overall, super just lucky to not get a yellow card there, but it almost doesn't matter because later on in the game,
Yeah.
there's just
God,
nothing
dude.
good going on in this.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
What-
to Carnell's credit in this game, he saw how reckless Miggy was being and that he had like already deserved to be sent off and
Yeah.
pulled him going
Yeah.
into the second half,
yeah.
which was a smart move. I'm glad he at least saw that and
Yeah.
recognized that.
Well, speaking of recklessness, I mean, John Nelson, there's a ball in the 41st minute where Lucas Bartlett tries to switch all the way from the right side to the left side to John Nelson. Terrible ball. John Nelson's never going to get there. Chicago Fire defender, he's already underneath it. He's going for the header, and John Nelson just runs full steam ahead, jumps, barrels through him, gets his first yellow. That's in the 41st minute.
Just a silly challenge.
Yeah.
Like really, really silly. I don't
Just
know. It was bad.
No thoughts, just anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just running into
Yeah,
someone.
like we talk about us being depression or aggression. They were aggressive yesterday. Maybe that was Carnell's like fire up the boys speech in the locker room.
Get out there and put him 6 feet under.
Yeah, like let's get after it.
All right.
Let's be aggressive. Well, they were.
And it did not pan out.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago almost gifted us a goal in the 45th minute. Gaston Jimenez, he passes the ball into the path of Celio Pompeo. And it's a 3v1 chance right before the half.
Yeah.
And he's got Vasilev and Gio to his right instead. And there's one defender right in front of Celio.
Celio
He
does
could've-
drop the defender.
Yeah, he cuts closer to the touchline and then probably could have passed. Like, he ends up just shooting with his left foot, which he's not as dominant.
It seemed like maybe he could have been trying to play the ball to Gio, but it's straight into
No,
the
I
path
think
of
he
the
shot
Chicago. It's straight into the path of the goal.
It was a shot. It was for sure a shot.
Yeah.
And
He just got nothing on it.
I don't mind being selfish, but it's got to be better than that. Like, if you're going to, like, break the defender and take it, like, further in towards goal, you got to put something on it. Like, there was, it was really, really weak shot.
Yeah, put your laces through it. He
Mhm.
tried to pass it into the back of the net.
It's on his weak foot. You can see why he wants to come in off the left and get it onto his right and, like, curl them rather than get stuck on his left foot because it's definitely not very good.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely could have played in Vasilev, who was making kind of an overlap run from the inside from midfield. And like as he makes the decision to take the touch down the line, instead he could have played a short like dink pass through to Vasilev. And I think that Vasilev on his left foot would have been good for goal there, I think. But at the end of the day, it's hindsight. It's 2020. Like,
Yep.
he tried and just didn't convert it.
Yeah, everything was happening so fast. I can't really blame Celio. It's just like that was probably our best chance of the game.
Yeah.
Like ultimately,
We had
and-
some great chances. There were chances in that game that could have been put away that we could have easily changed the course of the entire game.
I only think of like
Two,
three.
three.
Okay,
That was
actually,
one
I
of
think
three?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Gio chance.
The
That
Gio
he just
chance,
couldn't
the
get on the
Celio
end of,
chance, and
yeah.
then there was one in the. It was the 51st minute. Celio like lays a ball off to Leuven, who has like a curling long shot that hits the top
yeah.
of the net.
Yep.
And other than that,
Nothing.
Nothing.
what do we got? I have
Yeah.
nothing from Gio
Yeah.
the whole game.
Besides being on the ground and just like laying
Yeah.
down, expecting a foul.
Yeah, I mean,
That's so infuriating to watch. Is to be down 1-0. The team is not creating anything, and you're looking for a foul. There was a time where he was just laying on the ground, and the city attack was still going
it was
on.
Vasilev and Pompeo, and then Gio was on the ground.
Yeah.
And they were it felt like Vasilev and Pompeo were just passing back and forth. If they had a third guy in the mix there,
Yeah.
Could have made something happen.
could have made something happen.
And it's like there's nothing. I think all teams have at least one player who's going to look to go to ground easily, who's
Yeah.
going to look to be fouled. But without Klaus, without somebody who's going to stand tall and be strong up there in the striker role, he just looks like a little bitch. He looks so bitch made, and it's infuriating to watch. Get up and let's try to score a goal. It's like it's lazy, and it doesn't. There's no passion behind it. I can't stand it.
Yeah, no, I mean he's frustrated. We're frustrated. Like, what needs to change? Like, he can't be the standalone striker up there.
No, he can't.
It can't be him. We tried to play a 4-2-3-1 this game.
Yeah.
And he was the one the one guy up there. That's not working.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? Sam Adeniran is the solution.
Well,
He's your backup,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That's why you sign him. So how's he doing in San Antonio FC right now? 3 games, 2 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
I think take that with a grain of salt. It's the USL. It's not as good. We've 5-0'd a team in the USL.
We've talked about, though, how Sam Adeniran is the same
It's a similar
profile
profile.
as Klaus, and how Gio, we've shit on him this game or this podcast and maybe the last one too, but he is doing well when he's paired with somebody who has that profile that Klaus and Adeniran have.
Yeah.
And we loaned out our backup option when we need him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand it, and I understand the fans are mad on Twitter.
Yeah.
What happened on Twitter with Lutz?
It's so interesting. So there was a Taylor Twellman tweet talking about how Chicago deserved to be in the lead,
Which they did.
Yeah, oh definitely, and how Miggy deserved a second yellow card, which he probably did. And Lutz quote tweeted it and said, he said, "Perfectly said at Taylor Twellman, and it simply sums up the whole game. The only thing I would add is the word harmless." And so you're looking at that and you're thinking, okay, well that's his take on the game. And then a City fan quote tweets that tweet and says, "Loaning out Sam Adeniran the same day Klaus went down sure hasn't helped." Which, from our perspective,
Fair point.
I totally align with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lutz comes back and says, "Not a good idea for people to talk if they don't know the background."
Which is also true. We don't know the background.
We don't know the background.
But I would love to know what the deal
But
is.
watching
because
these results week in, week out, where we can't even score a goal, where we have to rely on an 18-year-old to make a back post run to score in the 94th minute of a game,
yeah.
we deserve answers.
We're
Why we don't have a striker, why we don't have a third designated player, all of these things. And for Lutz to come out and be kind of aggressive about it, I feel like it's kind of a bad look. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He also said in that tweet that there are no plans for a third DP, which I think is ridiculous. I understand that they have to keep the realistic lens on of okay, we won our first 5 games, but we're going to see some return to the average because we're not going to be undefeated all season. And I don't think anyone expects us to be, but we look horrible. And the main cause of that is not having a striker.
And we didn't look horrible.
Yeah.
We got accustomed to a certain lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Big time.
And I
We're
can't
living
go
pretty.
back. I can't go back. No.
No. There's no going back.
Plus the solution is there. I feel like we deserve some answers. I also see where Lutz is coming from. We don't know what's going on in the back room, in the locker room.
Yeah, he could be bad for the locker room.
Yeah, who knows?
They could have had an agreement with San Antonio because that's where he played last year before we got him. In the USL, he was loaned out by, I forget who his former team was.
Seattle.
Yeah, by Seattle.
He was at Tacoma. Or was he in San Antonio?
No, he was at San Antonio because there's a whole highlight tape you can go look up if you
Okay.
want to see, Samuel Adeniran's goals of him playing at San Antonio. So there may have been some kind of agreement where if he's not getting X amount of minutes after this amount of the season, you have to loan him back out to us or something like that. Or an agreement with him where if he's not getting the playing time he wants, he gets to get loaned out again. And that was probably already signed, so that's likely the background that he's talking about. I doubt he's a poor influence on the locker room.
Yeah.
Well, and I totally believe in the things that Lutz talks about. I think he's a great sporting director in the way that he talks about not only his plans for, the main STL City team, but for youth expansion teams, about building a soccer community in St. Louis. I think he's got a lot of good plans on it, but in this specific situation, it just leaves us open to just speculate, and it leaves people on Twitter open to speculate.
Yep.
And to come that hard at somebody who genuinely probably just wants to know why we don't have a striker, I think is a bit harsh.
Wasn't there someone else that was also kind of coming at his throat about how he wants an EPL move and City's not going to give it to him? Basically, there were some rumors about Aston Villa and another EPL club looking into Lutz as their sporting director, and apparently City has shut those down. So maybe he is upset about the fact that he could be moving to bigger, better things and is stuck here in St. Louis.
I don't think that's the vibes. I really feel like he put in so much work, and this is his franchise, his baby.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I'm fully backing Lutz and his vision. I think that this is just they messed up. They messed up by getting rid of Sam Adeniran, and there's no way to really say that. Like, as a club, are you going to come out and admit that you messed up here? Or are you going to be like, are you going to keep it a little bit behind closed doors and be like, well, you don't know the whole story?
Right.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
It's our due diligence to be angry about it.
Yeah.
And it's their due diligence to just be like, it is what it is.
It's just
like,
been a horrible week for our club.
Yeah.
It started off with the first getting bounced from the U.S. or the U.S. Open Cup on Tuesday. Then in the middle of the week, a press release gets mistakenly let out about the plans for the Cease and Desist Cup this upcoming weekend, where they announce like what they're going to have the fans do to like shit on Kansas City. I'm not going to say it on the episode, but you can go look it up. The press release released this secret information that was supposed to be a surprise. And then we go to Chicago, we lose again to Chicago. It's just been
it's bad vibes.
Week.
It's bad vibes. And if Klaus doesn't come back for this Kansas City game and we lose,
we're going to lose to Kansas City.
Yeah, that is the reality.
It's a possibility. I think that a positive we can take from this is that there is something to be said for having strong ownership in like times of turmoil.
Yeah.
Specifically, an example is Chelsea, where they are like constantly firing and hiring coaches based off of what the fans want. And the fans want to win. Do they know how to win?
No.
Not necessarily.
We don't have the purview.
So
even us sitting
we
here,
don't know.
people calling out Carnell, like, I've already heard it. Carnell out.
Yeah.
People have already said it. That's not the move. They're saying Lutz out. Not the move.
Not the move. Carnell and Lutz, both with the way that they've talked about this club and the way that they've been passionate about it, have absolutely earned this season at the very least to get in and apply their plan, and I am going to have confidence in them to do it. We're just going to have to see, like, the public relations aspect is just not quite there yet, I think. And we're a new club.
Everybody's working it out.
Yeah.
Everybody's working it out on all fronts, on the field, off the field. Everybody's just trying to figure it out.
It's been a bad week, and that's why I'm in the shiesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know what I thought was super weird about that game was we come back at halftime. Miggy's off.
Yep.
Blom comes back on. Blom, I thought, looked like the best player on the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Celio, I didn't think had a terrible game.
Yeah.
Just individually, I thought he wasn't bad.
Yeah. He was creative.
Yep. I thought Leuven was just frustrated again, trying to force shit up the middle.
Yeah.
That's just a general, I guess, thing we've seen throughout the season is we're always forcing things up the middle. There's no width. We rely on John Nelson and Jake Nowitzki to be our width, and they aren't there. We can't run our offense through those two players.
No, there was
or
a time.
If you want to run your offense through wingbacks like Liverpool has in the past, you need to have
play your wing, play a
like
wing back.
Stroud back there, or play Blom at right wing back, right?
I
But
don't think
know if
he
I
should
really
be a
want
wing.
that.
But you could also say like play Blom at wing back, and then you can afford to have Pedro, who is a more offensively minded player, play in that left back role ahead of Nelson, who has to sit out of next game because he got a red. So we're gonna see Pedro, or we're gonna see maybe like a 3 at the back or something.
Maybe Joachim Nielsen is back, and when you play 3 in the back, and you've got
Stroud and Blom or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if really. The more I sit with it, I don't really want Blom playing right wing back.
I want him in the midfield, man.
Yeah, I agree. I
He
think
looks
he
way
strengthens
too good on and off the ball positionally in like a defensive sense
Yeah.
that he has to be playing in the midfield in a more important position.
Like in this game specifically, Miggy absolutely earned his start against Chicago this Sunday after his performance on Tuesday. But you just kind of see that Blum is kind of an upgraded version of him, a more clean, a more polished, can make the final passes, clogs up even more lanes, makes last-ditch tackles.
Work rate on 1,000,000. Like on this past game, they subbed him in, and John Nelson. We don't even have to get into it. John Nelson had that terrible tackle on his first yellow that we already went over, and then he had an even almost equally as bad tackle for his second yellow, which could have been a straight red.
Yeah, it could have
just been
studs
straight
up
red.
like jumping into someone.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
looked
just
horrible.
It was Gutierrez, right, who took the touch past him.
Mm-hmm.
Takes an easy touch past him, and at this point, Nelson is playing fuck it ball. He says fuck it, and
just
is
Brexit.
Absolutely.
Brexit ball, just
Brexit
straight
tackle.
through him, takes
Yeah.
his studs, goes straight through the shins, and is just like he knew
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah.
He was, and then he gets surrounded by Chicago players, which I kind of Marley made the point. He's like, why don't they like come to defend our player that's getting swarmed?
Yeah.
It didn't.
I think
seem,
there's a lot of like lack of unity in our locker room right now.
You think?
Yeah, to a certain
I think it
degree.
shows. I think
losing,
it shows.
I think
losing.
winning cures all. You go
Yeah.
out and you beat Kansas City, all these bad vibes are erased immediately. Immediately.
I think they probably are
Yeah.
too. Because like
I
you
think
see
a
the
little, but-
frustration. You see the frustration on Gio when Berkey plays a ball over like super deep and he looks back and he's just like, "This is not what I want."
Yeah, the
you
ball's
see
over the
it-
top to Gio.
You
That's
see it
never
with,
worked.
You see it with Leuven and Ostrak, where Ostrak is making a run in behind, but Leuven plays the pass direct, puts his hands up. Like there's just so much frustration, and it's so visible that these that we're upset with the way that we're playing. And it.
I mean, they're
directly-
just as upset
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They don't want to go out there and lose every week. One thing I know that they will be happy to have back. We'll say it again, and hopefully it'll be true this week. Klaus at the weekend. Hopefully.
Has to happen.
Has to happen. We need him to come out and bang 2 and get us a dub in the cease and desist derby.
Man, if he comes back and scores a hat trick, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
You get that Klaus tattoo?
No, that's only if he wins a Golden Boot.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It might happen, so you better watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once John Nelson gets that red card, I think we went to like 3 in the back.
Yeah, we had
Yarrow,
Yarrow.
Bartlett, and Hebert.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Blom, or it was Yarrow. Yeah, Bartlett was
Subbed out. Yeah, he
Subbed
subbed
out.
out.
Bartlett
It was
got subbed.
Yarrow, Hebert, and Blom back there. But Blom was like doing it all. He was playing midfield. He was playing the CDM role. He was playing right back. He was playing center back. Just like, and there was a lot of chances like when we're down 10 men, when Chicago gets the ball and they counter, it was looking pretty unfavorable for us. And Blom to the rescue every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The amount of like last ditch tackles that he put in on blocking shots and taking the ball away when it was for sure going to be a goal if someone passed it. I think I remember one where Shaqiri just decides he's going to hit it when there's a dude like 10 feet away from him with no defender anywhere near him. They were being a little selfish with the ball, I think, near the end of that one.
Absolutely. The fact
'cause
that we
they
got
had-
out of that 1-0
It was
is
insane.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
insane.
all credit to Blom, and he
Yeah.
needs to start at the weekend. I thought Miggy did earn his place in that starting lineup. I don't think it's a good idea to start an 18-year-old twice in the same week.
I think there's just fitness problems. Like Blom probably wasn't fully fit to go, but like he needs to be now. You know.
Yeah.
I guess, but if that's truly the issue is fitness, start him for the game and then pull him early. Like I'd rather have him
At the beginning.
start the game
Yeah.
I
than
think so,
come in
too.
off the bench for
Yeah.
more defensive solidity.
Yeah, and Perez can come off the bench and
Yeah,
fill his role.
inject
I'm
some
fine with
energy and pace into the lineup.
Definitely.
Yeah. Talking about subs, Yarrow for Bartlett in the 77th. Caden Glover for
First
Leuven.
appearance?
Love to see Caden Glover get
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
cool.
I wouldn't say that like he was put in a terrible position, right? You're like,
Oh, yeah.
You're meant to poach a goal or strike a goal when you're playing 10 men.
But it was Giacchini for him, right?
It was
No, it was Leuven.
Oh,
Leuven.
Leuven.
And you know what? As we were down 10 men, and Leuven comes out, and we play better for the last
Yeah, we look
like
a lot
13
better.
minutes of that game, 14
Yeah.
minutes of that game. It was more. I felt like it was more in their half. I did notice, like, despite being down 10 men and everything being stacked against us, the supporters section was rocking.
It was, yeah, we stayed true up there.
Yeah,
Shout out to STL Santos who were running
they ran the supporters section for the second half of it,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
loved
great.
it. It was good energy.
There
They
were some chants in Spanish that I hadn't heard before that I'd like to learn because
We'll get with it. Yeah.
the song, like the song and like the it sounded really good, but I
Yeah.
had no idea what they were saying.
Couple
I
white
only took-
boys.
I only took 3 years of Spanish, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
We can figure out Vamos St. Louis, but the other one, there's
other-
another one that's in
a
there.
little too intricate.
Yeah.
That's pretty white of us to literally know the chant where they say one word in Spanish.
Yeah.
But no, it was still great energy as always. I think St. Louis, we have such great fan bases that are going to go out and support, and going out and being a part of that in Chicago, it felt great.
Yeah, I mean, you get a free Chicago hockey jersey or whatever yesterday because they literally can't get people to show up, so they're giving free shit away.
Yeah, and it was so funny because we were walking in and they're handing out the jerseys, and I have a full zip on, and I open my zip, and I'm like, I'm a City fan. Like, are you sure you want to give me this? He's like, yeah, man, take it. Like, you don't know how I'm gonna defile this thing. You have no idea.
Burning that in the backyard.
Ooh, and I'm gonna be wearing the shiesty while I do it. Okay, sorry.
Ultimately, man, like, everything's got to get better. Klaus comes back, Blom's back. I have faith. When we play Kansas City, we're going to have a win.
I have faith, too.
We got to make it happen, though.
Dude, they are coming off of some convincing performances.
Yeah, they're coming into their own right when we don't. When we're
they are a rising tide, and we are a sinking ship.
Shut out Seattle. Shut out Minnesota.
Yeah. 2-0'd Seattle. 3-0'd Minnesota. Those are teams that we got beat by convincingly in some of the cases.
The only thing I can think of is MLS massive parity league.
Yeah.
So who knows? Ultimately, like Vatsilev said that even prior to this match, because they keep trying to hype up a Chicago-St. Louis rivalry, which I don't even feel like it's there, man. We've just been getting shit on by Chicago, so that
I was gonna say
can't really be a rivalry.
If you go on Twitter, it's a rivalry, man.
Okay.
It's a war zone.
Vatsilev in his presser prior to his pregame presser to this Chicago match, he said, I mean, I just view this as another game. If anything, I view the game against Kansas City is more of a rivalry, which I agree. Like,
I
there's so
agree.
much stuff that's gone off the field.
But I think that both can be a rivalry. You don't just have to have like one rival. I mean, one will obviously be bigger than the other, and it's likely going to be the Missouri rivalry, I guess.
I feel like
Yeah,
well, that's what I like about Vassilev coming out and saying that is like that means that the club and the players are like paying attention to what's going on the outside.
Yeah,
they have the context of like what the game means to like the fans and like how these. Oh, I could say a lot of really bad words about that Kansas City group that sent a cease and desist letter to a independently ran podcast.
It's so soft. It's so soft.
But the fact that they know and like that they're being passionate about it makes me feel good. And
yeah, but they better come out with a performance like that.
Yeah,
because they didn't this weekend against Chicago, which historically our rivalries with Chicago are larger than anything to do with Kansas City.
Because Kansas City's bad at just about everything.
Yeah, basically,
except for like football.
We don't even have football anymore. But we've got football.
And hopefully we have Klaus back.
Dude, we need him more than anything. If we can, like, I don't care who gets injured on the team and has to sit out if Klaus is back. So
if Nielsen is back, has he played a game for City yet?
No, he has not.
It'd be tough to have him come back.
Do we have him? Yeah, and do we even have him start the game? I don't think that we can.
No. We'll rock the Parker Bartlett, I think. Or not Parker Bartlett, Parker Hebert. I think go back to that because Parker had to sit out for yellow cards. Hebert sat out midweek to just stay fit. I want to see a lot less rotation in that position, so maybe Parker and Hebert chill out with all the yellow cards.
What's up with John Bell? I feel like he was going to be our other option, right? But
Fourth choice, I guess.
Yeah, but we've been playing Bartlett over him every time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something that's behind closed doors. We don't know.
It's all in the training ground, man.
Yeah.
It's whatever he's seeing.
It's up for our speculation always.
Yep.
What's my speculation on it? I feel like it might just be a size factor. Bartlett's a pretty big guy, and I like
John Bell's not little.
Yeah,
I mean Yarrow's little.
Yarrow's little.
Yarrow's little, but Bell and Yarrow. Whenever we were watching the Union Omaha game, they kind of seemed like they were similar in height and stature. But
okay.
Bartlett, that's my speculation. It's all speculation at this point. The MLS is just such a anything could happen at any time league.
Speculative league.
Yeah, we're just gonna speculate. It's a free country. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. I guess we can give Chicago some of their flowers. Shaqiri had looked horrible all year. Looked great in this game.
Dude was good versus us in the midweek too.
I thought he looked a lot better in this game than he did at the midweek.
Looked like a designated player in the MLS. Everything was flowing through him.
Dude, he was
like what we want Leuven to be.
He was the Cam.
He was spraying passes perfect through balls to everyone that was making runs.
He played that game the way that I expected Leuven to play. throughout this last stretch of games.
I don't expect Leuven to play like that ever. I just don't see him being pushed up that far forward.
But I guess it was
because
just
he was in his 8 role this game and he didn't look good in it. So
I guess it's more along the lines of how he's played and how Carnell has set him up tactically to be. I mean, he plays that cam role, and that's where Carnell puts him on the field in the lineup. And I think we've said it before, that might not be his role.
I don't think it is.
That role is needed on this team.
Oh, for sure. But that's where I don't like Lutz saying there's no plans for a third DP. Yeah. Because if there's a place that we could use, if you have the opportunity, why would you not use it?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. It's literally a slot on the lineup that doesn't count against your salary cap and can be a great player. I know we may not want to spend a bunch of money and kind of build a foundation this season.
Yeah.
But if we have the opportunity to win the Western Conference in our first season, I think you should seize it. I don't think that you should sit back on your laurels and be like, we're happy at second. We should get after it.
But I felt like we really had the opportunity after our first stretch of 7 games. And then Klaus gets injured and the whole dynamic, everything changes. That's so crazy. It's just so crazy that one player can do that. When, it's been talked about, the way that they wanted to structure and build the club was
not around one player.
Not around one player,
right.
But we're seeing it right now. It's like Klaus is the team. It's what are we going to do?
I think that it's not Klaus is the team, but you have to have a profile of player for each of the positions that Carnell wants to play, and that might be the most important position on the field in the way that in the way that Carnell wants to play, because the way that he presses as well as stretches the defense is very specific, and I think that Adeniran was brought in specifically because he is that same profile of player.
I don't think he works as hard. Klaus's work rate is actually insane.
It is. He's in the 96th percentile for interceptions, 80th percentile for tackles. Yeah.
He is an elite pressing striker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. I just feel like we also didn't get to see Adeniran that much.
No, we didn't.
No.
We only saw him for 15 minutes at a time in a loss where we were playing Brexit ball and just blasting it into the opposition box, hoping he could bring it down.
Yeah. But we would also only see him come on for Gio. And so him and Klaus would play together.
Mm-hmm.
So we never even got to see him try to fill. It's just weird. I want him back. I want a striker, man. I want somebody to just score a goal.
I want that third DP slot filled by Roberto Firmino
as a cam.
Yes,
Oh,
but he can
man.
also can slide into any other forward thinking position. He's so useful.
Problem is,
as
Firmino does not run like that.
No, he doesn't. Well, actually, he does.
He's not.
He's a presser.
No, he's not.
He was for
he played
Liverpool.
For Liverpool.
They're a high press side.
I don't think he's got it in him now.
I think he does. I think the only thing that's taken away from signing Firmino is that he's Barca on him.
Yeah.
You gonna go to Catalan or are you gonna fucking come to St. Louis?
Fair enough. Can't blame him on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the game wraps up and we're all up there in the section 300s and we look down on the Chicago fans and they all turn back up to us and they flip us off. That was one of the most horrible feelings that I've had. Horrible feeling and a good feeling at the same time because it's these guys kind of hate us for no reason.
Dude,
we're in their head.
They put us in the stratosphere of Soldier Field. We were way up there. And their supporter
there should
section,
be a law in the MLS against that. If you're gonna have supporter sections, traditionally in all European countries and South American countries,
they always put them up in the corner.
You get a corner. But it goes
away
all
from the field, though.
No, not away from it.
St. Louis puts our support. The away fans. They're up top level.
Really?
In the corner.
I don't think that should be that way.
Over by the Union Station side.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, that's how it is, bro. Because it's a competitive advantage.
It's different too because our park is capacity is 22,000.
Not
Soldier Field
50K.
is this massive.
Yeah. We were way up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Dude, that stadium looked so empty on TV when they were showing the wide angle shot from top level. I was like, oh my god.
There definitely were a lot more fans, I think, underneath the camera on that side. But yeah, it still was splotchy. There weren't a lot of people there.
I think 18,000 people showed up, but 1,500 of that was us. So
if not more, because like 1,500 in maybe the
supporter
section,
section, right?
but then like walking around the concourse on the bottom, there were a ton of City fans. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and it was nice. Like the team walked over to us, and I mean, you can't really walk over to us, but they like walked to our general area, and from a million miles away,
Clapped them.
like,
Yeah.
acknowledging like thanks for the support. Gio looked distraught, like
Yep.
he was like on his lonesome, walking around, just
Yeah.
being like praying. I don't know. What
Yeah.
Vasilev
He's a very
was,
godly man. He
Vasilev was the
jumps
last
on him.
one to like walk into the tunnel, and he looked really like he looked so happy to see all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then it looked like there was a moment where he like remembered, oh, we just
lost them
1-0
the
to
game, and
Chicago.
they
and then
came
you
here.
see his head drop, and then he's the last player to walk to the
Yeah.
tunnel. It was. I love that they love us. I just want to win the games of soccer that we play.
We're not going to win all of them, but if we could win the one against Kansas City, that would be really nice, and we would appreciate you very much.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's a must-win. You must win that game against Kansas City.
I'm
We've
just
talked too much shit on this podcast. People have talked too much shit on Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've had too much bullshit happen with cease and desist letters, some Bush League stuff. Like,
yeah.
we need to win against Kansas City, and the way that we played the past 2 weeks here, past few games without Klaus, is unacceptable.
Yeah.
They
Been
know
bad.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything that other people aren't saying
Right.
already.
Yeah.
It has to happen. Make it happen.
Make it happen. Do whatever it takes. Score a fucking goal, man. Put it away.
We need one
All
badly.
right. I think that's about the pod. Thanks for tapping in, y'all. We'll catch you on Wednesday.
Peace out.
Thank you for watching this episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media and Anchor FM. Make sure to check us out on YouTube at First Touch Media, and all of our socials are at First Touch 314. Thank you for watching.